Hello everyone! Due to all of the questions surrounding death traps, I decided to put together this FAQ. We're going to go through every question one by one, and if you need any specific section, just skip to that and listen to whatever question you might have. Why do we stack core damage, or core ranks? The reason for this is because of the first line on the Scoundrel's Leathers item. This gives your trap skills a core tag, which makes your death trap, caltrops, and poison trap all benefit from core ranks and core multipliers, etc. Why doesn't my death traps do any damage? I see them on the screen, but nothing is happening. Well, if we're doing this, you can see that I'm not dealing any damage until I stop casting for a second. This is because of trap arm time. You can see this if I hover over the skill that my death trap will arm after 0.75 seconds. You want this number to be as low as possible, ideally around 0.1 seconds, so that your attack speed doesn't interfere with this. In order to get this, you could either equip Eyes in the Dark if you're playing the Ancestral version, or you could temper your amulet or something similar with trap arm time. Doing this means that your death trap will now deal damage when it triggers and will not have the problems that we saw before. What passive do we want on the amulet and why? Well, if you're doing speed running, so you're playing like the Exodia version or trying to kill things as fast as possible in a short window, you want to use something like Frigid Finesse combined with the Frostbitten aspect, which means that whenever you're casting a death trap and the stun grenades pops out, you're gonna instantly freeze all of your targets. Another popular choice is Unstable Elixirs. This means that whenever you're casting Healing Potion, which you do a lot in this build, you're going to be dealing more damage. Finally, for speedrunning, Exploit is an excellent one. It will just make you do more damage when targets are healthy, allowing you for a larger one-shot, or executing quickly when they're at low HP. Honestly, go whatever passive you get on your amulet, it's gonna be good anyway, but if you want to optimize for speedrunning, you want Frigid Finesse combined with either Unstable Elixirs or with Exploit. Why no Dark Shroud on your bar? Well, I don't like spamming my abilities. It feels bad, it hurts my wrists. So what I do instead is I put it on my runes through, for example, Yul Mot. This means whenever I'm casting my death trap, I will start gaining Dark Shroud stacks. This way, you're charging them faster than you're depleting them, and it's automatic, you don't have to spam it. Why is my death trap on cooldown? Well, that could be due to a number of things. It could be, for example, the Beast Corner bug. I made a video about it, it's in the description below, but to briefly explain it, a Beast Corner needs to deplete HP in order for you to gain any resources back. However, if you have this in combination with Scoundrel's Leathers, you will see that my energy goes much lower than the 40% that I'm supposed to have. And if I'm holding my death trap down, every 10 seconds, my energy is gonna go down to 0 and then go back up sometimes I'm not as lucky. So Scoundrel's Leathers in combination with a Beast Cornered might bug you out and make you lose all of your energy when you're not supposed to. Another common problem is not having enough energy generation per cast of Death Trap. You get 25 energy from casting a cooldown with Beastfall Boots. You get 35 from Aftermath. You also gain resource generation based off of your strength. And finally, you get it from casting an ultimate skill based off your temper. You also get it from a Beast Corner, but we covered that earlier. If you, for example, then only have Aftermath and Beastfall Boots, whenever you're casting Death Trap, you're not gonna spend enough energy in order to be able to refund it immediately, and it will leave you with a short cooldown. To fix this, you want to equip a ring with 35 energy or higher if you're playing the Exodia version, or any amount if you're playing a Beast Cornered. Those two combined means that you're gonna start generating enough energy to start spamming your Death Trap. Another problem tends to be not having enough skill ranks. Currently, my Death Trap has 5 out of 5 ranks to Death Trap, and with that I have 12.3 seconds. Adding a glove with core skills and with 2 ranks from Vehement Brawler, I now get down to 9.9. So getting enough skill ranks is very important. You need 12 ranks or higher in order for this to be below 10 seconds. Having enough cooldown reduction is also a frequent problem now when we need to use one of our ring tempers for energy regeneration. This means that you need to have some combination of masterworking on your Beastfall Boots to get ultimate cooldown reduction, on your amulet, but also one of your rings. The higher the better until you get to that point where you're below 10 seconds. Chaos Perks is also one of those easy mistakes to make. If you have Power Siphon on, you will reduce the maximum resource by 20, which means even if you have 1 million energy restored per cast, you won't get higher than the amount of stacks that you have on right now. On the screen, you can see me having 4 stacks, which means I have a max energy of 85 instead of 150 that I need. Simply remove Power Siphon and this fixes itself. But perhaps one of the most overlooked things is actually the Quacks rune. Quack spends all of your resources putting you at 0. And if this is done at the wrong time, it means you will not have enough energy regen in order to spam your death trap, especially in the early version. Having the same setup I had before, I have now equipped Sand Quacks, and I'm gonna hold down right click and see what happens. I occasionally go down to 2 seconds, to 5 seconds, and I have a cooldown all the time. Whenever Quacks is proccing, it's eating 25 energy from Beastfall Boots, and also all of that energy you should have gotten from a Beast Cornered, meaning that you're not funneling enough energy into your Death Trap. This is unfortunate because Quacks is a massive damage increase, and we would like to have it in the kit. You can run Lucky Hit Restore Energy on both of your weapons in combination with Consuming Shadows to kind of offset this in the Exodia version, but you will occasionally have a cooldown in your death trap. If you want a smoother experience, just swap this out for something like Vex or Thul or Omru, like anything that just has a basically constant damage increase instead. Why are we running the Undying Aspect? Isn't that a massive damage loss? Yes, it is, but you need some sort of consistent healing in order for a Beast Corner to refund 40% of your HP. It only refunds if you drain any life, and you don't gain that consistently enough without this. Is there a rotation? Well, kind of, but it depends on the context of what you're playing. If you're playing the Exodia version or something that just spams dash and then DT and dash and DT, etc., you do not have a rotation because you just want to move around as quickly as possible. However, if you're playing a slower and methodical build like we did in Season 9, where we kind of just want to group up as many enemies as possible and hit them from afar, you want to cast Caltrops, followed by Poison Trap, followed by Smoke Grenade, and then cast Death Trap. The reason for this is that Caltrops forcefully swaps your weapon to the ranged one. And for the previous pit pushing setups, you kind of want to do this because you wanted to equip your crossbow instead. Crossbow has higher base damage, which means you're going to be dealing way more damage. Not doing this swap essentially means that your death trap is going to use your melee weapons, which is less damage per second than using your crossbow. If you're playing like the Exodia build or something else, you're dashing and casting DT so frequently that you're always going to have your melee weapons out. Just forego this, there's not going to be a rotation. How do I cast dash and death trap as efficiently as possible? You do this by keybinding dash to your shift and death trap to your right click, and then you just hold down both at the same time. Why do you use bows over crossbow or swords over sword and dagger? Well, it all depends on the gear you have. I have optimized my character around the 7 frame breakpoint, which requires me to have 190.9% attack speed in combat. If I open up my attack speed, I have 198.5, so I have a little bit more attack speed than I actually need to. Going the sword and dagger route means that I need a little bit less attack speed, but at a loss of raw damage from the sword itself over dagger. The same thing goes for bow and crossbow. If you're going a slower build where you are taking your time killing packs slowly, then swapping to a crossbow through caltrops is going to be higher damage return. However, that requires you to stand still and not dash all over the screen. You can find a bunch of links to random resources I've written or videos I've produced in order to help explain certain concepts around Death Trap. You can find a calculator down there for the energy requirement, and you can find a video about the Scoundrel's Leather Spug with a Beast Cornered. You can also find a link to the build guide. I have most of the stuff written there as well. These were the most frequently asked questions according to my YouTube comment section at least. If you have any other questions that you want an answer to, just use the comment section below. I check it regularly, or tag me on the Maxwell community Discord, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. For now, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.